Hi everyone. It's a real privilege to be with you today for this virtual conference. As a result of the current context not allowing us to meet in person, it is digitally that we will communicate today. This is also what removing constraint is about. It is about being able to adapt to an ever-changing environment while ensuring that we continue moving forward. The reason why I'm here with you today is to share the terms and conditions of McDonald's France's transformation using the theory of constraint in order to improve our overall operational performance. But firstly, please let me introduce myself in a few words. I'm Eric Bisson, Senior Vice President, Operation, Technology and PMO at McDonald's France. Even though I have spent most of my professional life at McDonald's, nothing initially made me destined to stay there. Like 75% of our employees, I started as a crew member while studying as a delegate of medical information. I believe that life is made of science, and back at that point in time, I will be able to pinpoint a business with a rigorous execution, an outstanding organization with the will to integrate anyone wishing to try their luck and invest themselves in order to develop both the system and their skills. I therefore seized the opportunity that was offered to me. This year will be my 30 years at McDonald's. We could break down my career in three main points in time. Firstly, I come from a strong field experience. I have spent 10 years in restaurant from a crew member position to director and supervisor roles for a franchisee. Therefore, I can say that I know the rigorousness that it takes to develop and run a McDonald's restaurant. The 10 years that follow, it is within the McDonald's French headquarters that I have followed my career as a trainer and later on as an operation process developer. To then return to the restaurant as a field service manager in charge of the Paris area. A 3-year hiatus was offered to me as I have worked at McDonald's headquarters in Chicago as a worldwide operation manager. My role at this time was to develop production processes, including sandwiches, drinks, and desserts, as well as the service procedures within the McDonald's Innovation Center, continuously supporting countries in implementing those once they return. Only one objective: develop operational excellence and improve restaurant performance. It is within this structure that we had the possibility to live test all the possible restaurant configurations in their specific country conditions. Country specificities is a point on which I will come back later on in the presentation. The last few years have been spent implementing the solution in part of Europe and France. We should not be mistaken. When talking to you about operations, I'm talking to you about the development of processes aimed at benefiting the business. On the kitchen production side, we must find the right balance between production and service, allowing us to meet the growing demand from our customers. Today, my responsibility is to develop the necessary tools for the development of the customer experience in France. I must focus on a variety of things in order to maintain high level of product quality for our customers, maintain high level of operational execution in order to provide our customer the best possible experience in the term of service. Doing so while simplifying the work of restaurant teams. Put it in 3 letters. I'm referring to QSC, quality, service, and cleanliness. On the customer side, behind the customer service, which is essentially to build strong client relationship, I will mostly focus today on speed of service, a key part of our business growth. Indeed, speed of execution is at the heart of my concerns. Our stakes, as not only will this allow us to continue developing, it is this speed of service that our customers are looking to get within our restaurants. In the interest of getting a greater understanding of what we have done, we first need to better understand McDonald's in France and learn who the French consumer are, which I will develop to explain to you our journey and steps we have taken towards continuous improvement, which led us to use the principles of the theory of constraint. Finally, I will share with you the results that we have achieved and the next steps that we are currently considering. In my presentation, after a brief introduction, I will describe how McDonald's has adapted to the French market. Then, describe how our new restaurant operating model made for you, or full restaurant, as it was originally, and how we improved the model using the theory of constraints. McDonald's is the world leader in quick service restaurant, and therefore, obviously, speed is at the heart of our market offering. So, operational excellence is absolutely critical, as you will see throughout my presentation. We are always looking to improve flow. So we are always testing and integrating new ideas, such as the theory of constraint and lean. What is special in our implementation of the theory of constraints is that we are a quick service industry. We must at all time minimize client waiting time. So we must have an average, for example, for a 2 hours lunch period, excess capacity compared to the average demand. We want to avoid a queue of clients as much as possible, but then, during these 2 hours, we will have mini rush when suddenly 20 or more customers arrive at the same time. The restaurant is then temporarily overloaded for 5 or 10 minutes. A bottleneck will appear. It is these bottlenecks or resources with the least capacity that we must use as control points to manage the flow. As you will see, when the bottleneck is identified, we must decide if it is a good or bad bottleneck. Initially, the bottleneck we first identified was a bad one, and so we eliminated it. Then, later, we choose the best bottleneck or best control point and build a simple and robust flow management system based on the theory of constraint. Let us start with France, as we often refer to it as a singular country with strong market specificities. What makes France the country it is? It's ultimately its people, the French, as we believe that we are in many ways unique. This is partly true thanks to our history and culture. If we are to understand the challenges that must be overcome, we must first understand France. A few things to know about France and why French people think that they are so unique. France, it's a great country of paradoxes. Do you know that France is the most pessimistic country in the world? Only 3% of French people believe that the situation will get better in the next 6 months. But France has the second highest fertility rate in Europe. Did you know that France has one of the strongest social protection systems? French people have a social system that they are proud of. More than 86% of them think that the social model is a main part of the French national identity. But it has a heavy cost for the employees and can be a burden for the French economy. Did you know France has a lovely relationship with the US? French people are big fans of the US and its pop culture. They have always fantasized about American freedom and their successful lifestyle. But French people are taking some distance with mass culture and consumerism, symbolized for them by America. A lot of them think Americans have a lack of consideration for the rest of the world. Did you know? French identity is intimately linked to its gastronomy. French gastronomy has been recognized by UNESCO. Have you heard about foie gras, cassoulet? As a matter of fact, French food has a unique, strong flavor. Indeed, French people value the quality of ingredients and rather prefer handcraft products, basic local production, and product traceability. But it doesn't prevent them from being curious about other food traditions. It's a certain idea of the exotism for us. Did you know about French eating habits? Eating occasions are real ceremonies. They are focused around lunch and dinner, often at home and taken at set times. French people take time. It is social occasion for share. Hide meals out of town how to take with other people. They have a particularly structured meal with at least 2 items, where the norm is to drink water or wine. The IO market is very fragmented, with a lot of independent brasseries, petit café, and boulangerie. In other words, on the French market, burgers and global place, it is still quite small, and McDonald's is far ahead of the whole. Now that we have a better grasp on how French and France works, let us take a look at McDonald's in France. We will look at this long history that celebrates its 40th anniversary last year. 40 years ago, in France, the arrival of McDonald's somewhat disrupted the way we consume food. A burger that you eat with your hands, an out-of-home meal at an affordable price, the place where children can eat while having fun, and certainly a little bit of American dream. At the very beginning, McDonald's simply applied a recipe that worked anywhere, serving quality burgers in a clean environment and fast. On the other hand, our strong culture in terms of gathering has led us to adapt, to transform ourselves in order to meet the needs of our French consumers, who, as previously mentioned, had a stronger expectation in terms of integration. As already said, we are the country of gastronomy, bistros, and jambon beurre. We undoubtedly had the Big Mac, the fries, and the sundae, but this was not sufficient to integrate in the best possible way to the French market. We had to introduce a number of products that embody the French culture, such as cheese or the baguette, which are part of our heritage. We went a little bit further by breaking fast food codes and adopting restaurant codes, reviewing our decors to make them premium and also make our restaurant real restaurants where our clients and their children love to gather. We talked about who we were and above all what we were doing in terms of quality, employment, through the sustainable partnerships with farmers. It was a long-term job, which was not a question of convincing but rather demonstrating through our actions what our ambition for integration was. After 40 years, we are market leaders in France. This is the reward obtained through accomplishing local work, especially with our restaurant, to create a strong link with our clients, step into our restaurants on a daily basis. 80% of French people are McDonald's customers. Our market share represents 13.6% of the IO. Today, we have 1,489 restaurants, including 85% franchised, with more than 300 franchises split across the territory. In addition, we are facing a unique consumption mode driven by its large scale. French people eat twice a day at regular hours, which is why we experience 70% of our transactions during lunch and dinner. This specificity represents the biggest challenge that McDonald's France faces in comparison to other countries, as we must respond to a growing demand during the peak hours to efficiently bridge the gap between production capacity and service capacity that only a few countries face. It will be very easy to stop there. However, France also has one of the highest average meal checks, and the number of items per transaction is very high. Even out, our customer eats more during lunch and dinner hours, they do not tend to snack between meals. It will be a little long to explain our journey over the past 30 years, but in order to respond to the challenges faced on the customer side by McDonald's, France has been a very first country to implement self-ordering kiosks, leading to the smoother, more efficient service, allowing us to increase our capacity to serve while continuing to adapt to new consumption modes. Even out, France has long been spared from competition. It faces today a diversified offer in a growing competitive market. Our consumers are more demanding as they expect more diversity, quality, and variety. It was therefore crucial for us to open a new chapter, to continue moving forward, and also to stay leader, stay ahead of competition, and take another important step to reinvent ourselves. We had to continue our transformation in order to anticipate our clients' needs. With our new full restaurant made for you concept, we have started a revolution, culturally, for our restaurant teams and consumers, and physically, which can be visible to anyone. We have broken down the codes of the fast food industry to become a real restaurant, not a bistro, but a real restaurant for families. For all families. To reinvent oneself, it's to take into account our specificities and ensure that we continue performing without increasing staffing needs, anticipating customers' needs, transforming customer experience, using modern tools, and reinforcing the usage of the existing tools such as self-ordering kiosk present in our restaurant in France since 2007. Adjusting our production process to respond to our market specificities, high peak, high arrival rate, high level of item per transaction. Guarantee the best quality of our customers while operating one of our biggest changes we know in production mode. From make to stock to make to order. This is the new McDonald's restaurant, already in place in more than 80% of our restaurants, with on the service side, the possibility for our customer to order as they wish, at the front counter, at the drive-thru, at the self-ordering kiosk, using our McDonald's app, or through the tablets for ordering their food. It is our duty to adapt to our clients and not to the opposite. Our customers have a choice of how they wish to conduct their experience, which we can complete with table service should they wish to eat in. On the production side, we have 3 production lines per restaurant, allowing us to make our sandwiches in a small factory way, where each line produces in function of the orders it receives, and is open depending on demand within restaurants. Identically, we produce fries, drinks, and dessert in this way to guarantee high quality of product, freshly prepared, and an all-round experience for our clients. However, producing based on customer order has another advantage. We are able to offer more variety in terms of product and above all, more personalizations, which in today's world holds on the key to success in business. I will quickly cover the revolution that we operated on our menu, but more than putting it to words, I invite you to come and discover them in our restaurant when we are able to travel again. What we should keep front of mind is to have a complete offer which include gourmet burgers, fresh salads prepared at the restaurant, thanks to our salad bar, and a complete ice cream offer enriched with new chocolate and fruit-based strawberry flavors. In order to put all of this in place, we have had to review the approach we had towards our consumers. With more than 70,000 employees, we do not become restoration professionals overnight. We have to change our approach and teach them to build relationships with our clients. We are inspired by some of the best examples that can be found in market in terms of clients' relationships. We have reached out for help through the Academy of Service, an institution specialized in client relationship for enterprise. We have analyzed things in much more details on the HR and people recruitment sides, from team training to level of the staffing needed to better support client experience each step of their journey. Lastly, we have had to embark all of our franchisees and our collaborators in this journey. That is why we created the Service Academy. Once you touch a company's culture, change must stem at each levels of the business. From the president to the team member, we will bring you your trade at the table, because if it was simple about physical change, would certainly be easier. Let's look at changes that we have operated from physical and equipment point of view. Service side, we no longer have menu board in our restaurants, which has become irrelevant to a majority of our customers taking order directly at the self-ordering kiosks. We have opened a front counters to facilitate the flow of employees and allow them to optimize the table service process. What we should remember, we have broken down part of the counter barrier, which brought us back to our fast food image. Production side, this is what we will focus on during this presentation. Order-led production changes everything in our operational mode. Finally, the assembly. This crucial step in the process was to focus of our analysis because it brings together all of the production lines, sandwiches, fries, and drinks and desserts. The entire solution using 3 production lines works pretty well in standard McDonald's conditions, but presents new challenges when brought to the French conditions. This is due to the high number of transactions, high arrival rate over a 15-minute period, also due to the number of items bought, which when combined impacts the order assembly table, or OAT, as we can call it, where whole production lines are delivering all sandwiches. These congestions of sandwiches affects our capacity to produce and serve our customers quickly. And quickly, we were able to identify the source of this issue. If we produce complete orders on each line, sandwich per sandwich, insertion in the hub and spoke tunnel, causes all of the orders to be mixed and requires to reconstruct each order at the exit of the order assembly table at the assembly step. We have therefore identified a potential solution, not by bypassing the constraint, but by analyzing the root cause of it. We shall keep all orders assembled throughout the entire process. This is an easy solution to simplify the crew's workload and maximize the preparation time. This also avoids loss of time and increase capacity to serve more orders on the same period of time. The grouped order solution is based on full kit and the one piece of flow principles. We make sure that the order is completed from the first step in the kitchen, which is the initiation point, before releasing the second one. We asked Maris Consulting to support us in this approach. We asked them to analyze all our processes and propose improvements. Food restaurant must stay both simple and robust. The solution has to be relevant and present a positive impact on our service time and financial results. The food restaurant model has to evolve in order to secure current and future investments. Additionally, our McDonald's system is not one production line in a factory, but 3 production lines in 1,500 restaurants. Applying the theory of constraints during our observations phase and our analysis, we have identified 5 priorities to improve our system and make it more reliable and more robust. The first priority is the management at the assembly station. This is the main blocking point, and we have already talked about it. The second priority corresponds to the bump process. To put it simple, this action taken by our crew members indicates to our computer system that all of the sandwiches for an order are ready and that the production line can take a new order. In fact, this system controlled by the teams determines the new order ordered on each production line and therefore gives the team member the possibility of controlling the load of this line and therefore the speed of production, and to conclude, the speed of execution of the whole kitchen. Our third priority was to give visibility to our managers and crew members on preparation time in real time. This crucial indicator for our sector of activity was no longer at the heart of our concerns within the production area, only on the service side, even though they are ultimately linked. To quickly deliver an order to the customers, I must ensure that it is processed as quickly as possible in the kitchen and produced in a given time in order to be assembled and then served to these customers. The fourth was to make sure that our restaurant teams paid the same attention to their performance during the peak and off-peak hours. This makes it possible to standardize our working methods to avoid possible drift in terms of quality of products served and speed of service. Finally, our fifth priority is at the table service tab. To be efficient and facilitate the works of the teams to serve our customers at the table, we had to review our service processes and equip ourselves with a geolocalization system in the dining room to easily identify the customers waiting to be served. In conclusion, we have therefore reviewed all of the steps throughout the entire process, from the kitchen production chain, the assembly at the order, assembly table, to customer service, ensuring that our teams could at all the time have control over their performance to ensure that together they are able to achieve their service time, number of transactions, and therefore sales targets. To be able to operate this change uniformly across the market while limiting the risks of business impact, we operated in steps. First, by carrying out a diagnosis on a restaurant, analyzing several types of building with different configurations, and finally, testing our solution on this same restaurant before proceeding with a sequenced deployment across the entire market. In McDonald's, our challenge with each change is to train more than 70,000 employees distributed in 1,500 restaurants operating on average 3 production lines. The principles of our solution are quite simple and easily applicable by our restaurant teams. The crew members follow the same process as before, but a pick list will allow them to identify throughout the process the order number, the quantity of sandwiches constituting the order he is preparing. This ticket then make it possible to group all the product on a single tray. Identification is then facilitated when sandwiches arrive at the assembly station on one tray. We have studied different options to group the order, change the ticket to make it easier for our crew members to read, and finally, reviewed our equipment standard so that the transformation is also done with a controlled investment for all of our owner-operators. TOC has allowed us to ban some practices such as productivity at a local level at the initiation step. In the beginning, we create an indicator that was used to measure the speed of the crew members to bump orders. This practice tended to send products into the system without worrying about the downstream flow. Breaking this kind of local measurement allows us to have more fluidity of the OAT. All the actions undertaken in parallel, starting from the bump in the kitchen, which controls the order, throughput arriving in the kitchen, the visibility given around preparation time, the uniform treatment throughout the day, enabled us to act on the process of the group order with a potential gain at the pilot phase estimated at 25 seconds. However, at the same time, we had to review a crucial position in our system, the storage unit of our proteins, which became, at the acceleration of our process with the implementation of the group order, the central point of our warning. Indeed, one part is not properly supplied. The whole production chain stopped despite of our effort to make it more efficient. As a result, while working on the implementation, we have also worked on training of our teams in the management of this storage unit, create visibility on protein shortages that can affect the entire process, and finally, review our forecasting system to better anticipate this during peak hours and work in real time during the off-peak hours. Unlike any industry, our challenge is standardization in a market of more 1,400 restaurants with 70,000 employees. Accordingly, we have decided with a team of 60 McDonald's field consultants to organize a training road trip across France. This road trip then allowed us, through 4 visits to restaurants open to customers, to demonstrate from an individualized diagnosis, focusing on improving pain points, to train coaches in each restaurant to take over from our expert and make them a real expert too, but also establish an individual action plan for each restaurant. Finally, to follow up developments in improving their performance over time to continue to motivate them and ensure the sustainability of our actions and our results. One of the main goals here is achieving operational excellence to ensure the best customer experience. I will say that our objective has been reached, and here we are. The results are visible today, and this is impressive. Since the beginning of our test phases, we have achieved excellent results. At the time of the deployment, 88% of our restaurants reached more than 80% during the follow-up visit, while only 6% of them reached these scores during the diagnostic visit. The number of restaurants having fewer than 5 shortages of proteins during peak periods increased from 12 to 44%. We have observed a 46-second reduction in service time saved between the first diagnostic visit and the second at last follow-up visit. These results were later confirmed with more than 35 seconds gain over the lunchtime and 49 seconds gain over the dinner time. Most importantly, every second gain is a potential increase in our business. The more time you save on peaks, the more customers you can serve within this time frame. One, the strength of this experience, we identified a new opportunity in the beverages and dessert production area, and we decided to apply the same assembly principle with the group order. We therefore reviewed the organization of our beverage cell to ensure the application of the principles by our restaurant team and facilitate the work of the team member in charge of finalizing the order. It is therefore this new chapter that we wanted to write with our customers, offering an experience never before equaled in the McDonald's world around the world. France offers our system the possibility of playing the pilot fish given our very specific conditions, which requires to go further and faster. And our customers tell us we have gained plus 19 points of overall satisfaction compared to our whole production and service platform. Other 22 points recommended and another 90 points in the friendliness from our staff. With scores just as encouraging in terms of quality perception at plus 15 points, taste plus 20 points, and finally the freshness of the product plus 23 points. Full Restaurant has allowed McDonald's France to reach a milestone and today give us the opportunity to continue to increase our leadership. This transformation was not easy. It is still a journey, and we will have converted the world market into 21. But with more than 80% of the market converted today, a large part of the work has been done because we were able to question ourselves, because we were able to seek the necessary expertise to go further. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank Maris Consulting, with whom we have developed a strong partnership to improve our operational performance and continuously improve our operational excellence. To conclude, let me tell you about our plans for the future. Firstly, we are redesigning our future restaurants to better integrate the new operating system. In particular, we have to modify the equipment so that trays can be more easily used and transferred in our kitchens. Secondly, we have decided to improve our mastery of certain key pieces of equipment. We are, for example, by far the largest distributor of ice cream in the world, so we must become the world's experts in the ice cream distributing equipment and ensure that these machines are perfectly adapted to our needs. Thirdly, obviously, we will continue to automate some of our operations wherever possible. Fourthly, we will continue to increase and improve our home and office delivery activity. And of course, we have several other exciting projects that I can't tell you about. Thank you, all of you, for your attention.
There are lots and lots of questions. Can I start with one of them, which I know the people listening will like? Ellie Goldrat, you put it on a slide, said, "Tell me how you are measured and I will tell you how you behave." And when all this started, there was one of your key indicators that sounded very much like common sense used throughout the world was the bumping speed, the number of seconds, because everything in your business is counted in seconds, between the moment a client orders something and the moment the kitchen starts producing it, right? And that was a key indicator. What did you do with that?
It's a great question. As you know, in McDonald's, the speed of service is crucial. It's our business. So we have to learn from the talk that we have to accept to lose some time to gain time in the global solution. And for this first time, I would say that I accept to lose some time in the kitchen to be sure that the flow and the full service time will be better. It was really, I would say, very surprised me, because in fact, we have to lose this time in the kitchen to be sure that the full experience will be better, and it works. So it was really surprised. I was really surprised.
Thank you. There's been some remarks. Well, they weren't questions, they were remarks with exclamation points. I don't know if you read the chat. Amazing increases, brilliant, and stuff like that. But as you know, there are many more results than those. And one of them I realized was not mentioned was that when it was started, you had a certain number of mistakes in your finished orders, right?
Yeah.
And the system not only made things flow faster, it was getting things right first time. So globally throughout the system, the number of mistakes was reduced quite significantly. What was the reduction in the number of mistakes in complete orders?
So interesting things, it's same thing. So accuracy in McDonald's world, it's crucial for our customers. So when they came, they want speed and they want accuracy orders. So the opportunity that we seized when we implement the solution was to reduce the improve the accuracy of our orders, and we reduce the inaccuracy by 7 order of 10 by 10 was more accurate at the final during the test period. So it was unbelievable to see how we split the accuracy across the system when, for example, we push the responsibility of the accuracy of the sandwich to the kitchen. We push the accuracy of the French fries to the assembly area, and the beverage to the present persons. Means that we are more accurate also because we don't push all the responsibility of the accuracy to only one person at the end of the process, but through all the process, we improve the accuracy. So it was unbelievable and very important for us to manage that and to improve the accuracy the accuracy in the process.
One of the questions they're trying to better understand the exact mechanism you're now using to manage flow, and in the theory of constraints vocabulary, what is the rope? What brings the new order into the kitchen, right? Okay. And as I've mentioned in my first question, initially what brought the product into the kitchen, what started production, was the customer order, and as soon as it arrived, you jumped on it. What was the new system? What was the condition to start a new order?
In fact, one of the something very important was to when we are in a world where we have 75,000 employees working on the same process, we have to keep the same process to be sure that they will understand what they should do in the future. So keep it simple and robust solution. That means that we keep the same flow. The orders are sent to the kitchen when our customer take the orders at the end of the orders. They send the information to the kitchen. This is the same flow. The only thing that we changed was more than mix all these orders in the kitchen. We are just align one order after the others. And by using a simple tray, we put all the sandwich on the same tray. like that, it's very simple to identify each order through all the system. That respond to your question?
I think so. I know, as you explained, you know McDonald's very well. You started from being a team worker in restaurant, and you're very proud, and you ask a lot of your colleagues about the quality of food. And I know one of the subjects that gets you all heated up is the cold chip. And there's a question based on my experience, US McDonald's. Getting fries quickly go cold. I was expecting a new assembly process to have temperature-sensitive foods placed on the serving or whatever. And that links up to another question by, I believe it was Steve Holt, which is, you actually went from make to stock to make to order. I mean, the answer to your chips problem was to speed up the production and try and make it produce much closer to the requirement, and therefore avoid the cold chip that was produced 20 minutes before it was going to be eaten. Can you tell me more about that big leap where you decided you must go from make to stock to make to order? I mean, that was a massive change. I see from the questions and remarks, they think, wow.
First of all, if you compare, because you talk about the US market first, and this solution, or the made for you solution, make to order, it's implemented is already implemented in US from the last 25 or 30 years maybe. And Europe was one of the last markets using this solution. And I just want to correct something. At the beginning, we just stock the product during 10 minutes, not 20 minutes, 10 minutes only. And it's very important just to keep all the product and the sandwiches, I would say, on the high quality. And for the French fries, it's only 7 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes maximum. So that means that always we are producing based on I would say, the simple forecast about the number of orders that they are coming in the production area. Even if the biggest challenge was to make to order only for the sandwiches, because in fact it was already done for the French fries, and it was already done for the drink station, just to keep the quality very high. And the challenge was for the sandwich. And I would say that for the sandwich production in France, it was maybe the biggest challenge that we have to face on the last 40 years, for the simple reason, and what I explained in the video was, it's really about the peaks that we have in France. This is a high level of transaction mixed with a high level of number of items per transaction, means that we have a lot of products to produce in a very short of time compared with the other markets. And it's for that, for example, that we implement that we call the hub and spoke solution. It's a made for you, but with 3 lines at the same working at the same times to produce more sandwich during the same period. And like I said, it was really the biggest challenge during the last 40 years, because we changed everything. It's not only because we are very focused on the physical change, changing the kitchen, changing the equipment. It's very easy to do it, because you can have some experts doing some layout, very good layout, and it's working. But the challenge it was about the culture. The culture, it's a big change, in fact. But saying that, it's also a huge opportunity, because it's not about removing people, for example, from the kitchen, but just repositioning these people on the right and valuable work directed with directing to the customers. They more focused on the customer experience than ever, because their work is more simplified, and it's working pretty well.
Yeah, well, it's said in the video, but maybe you want to say it again. One of the reasons that it worked was not only that people in the management saw the operational results, but it was a lot less stressful. The quality of life improved significantly, and people liked it.
like you said, it's really it was really about first of all, it was really about the quality. Our challenge is how we can maintain high level of quality through all the day, okay, by serving so many customers on every hours. And saying that it's also making to order allow us to personalize the product. You are not serving the same Big Mac. You are producing the Big Mac that John just ordered 2 minutes ago. So it means it's a different way to our crew to work, because they are working specifically for specific customers. At the end of the experience, you can imagine, for example, that our crew, John, will produce the product for Bernard, and Bernard really will be very happy to know that John is working for him. So, and at the end, maybe we will connect both of them to be sure that they will know each of them.
Okay. Again, partly by repeating what was said in some of the video, but to say it again live, what I discovered when we met was that France is by far, or is anyway, the most difficult market in the world for quick service restauration, because of the food, because of and the complexity, the size of the orders. It's just everything is the most complicated in the world compared to other countries. So proving that it could be done in the most difficult territory was the test that showed that it could then be used anywhere. And there's many questions which are around, is this concept, I hope it means, because they're hoping it's going to come to their country. Many people are asking, is this unique to France, or is it going out to other countries?
I would say the full restaurant concept, it's unique to France. We broke the front counter and everything. So we go, I would say that we go, I would say, above what we need, we really need. But in fact, because we have these market conditions, I think we discover that we can use this solution in different restaurants across the world. Means that, as we call the hub and spoke solution, with 3 lines working all together, it's already implemented across the world for only the restaurant that they really need. They have specific condition very close to the French market. They don't need, for example, if I give you an example, because maybe from the attendees, they know more US. In US, they have only 2 lines. It's very easy to manage. They don't have a lot of peaks, high peaks during lunch and dinner. It's more during the breakfast. So I would say the solution is totally different, and they don't need this hub and spoke solution. But in some of the restaurants in the US or in the Hong Kong, for example, they apply this principle because they have very high condition like us, and they can use this solution. Now, the solution that we have implemented in France, I would say it's available for the market if they need it based on their condition.
Great, thank you. I'm just checking because I have to look at 2 different screens to get the questions in. You want to talk at all about the UHC, the production of proteins, and that part of the flow and the management of flow? And I hope you'll mention that proud moment when that team member came with his report saying he'd had no shortages in the tub.
It was funny. I would say maybe funny a little bit, because we are so focused on the assembly area to try to define where is the issue, find the root cause, and everything. And really, we put we look at the that we call the UHC, the protein storage unit, and we said something is wrong. People, they don't realize that they are in shortage in the kitchen, or they try to hide us that we have some shortage. And at the assembly area, people, they are waiting for food, for all the sandwiches. They don't understand. So we try during the to helping them to be better in the system. We start to count the shortage in protein during the peak. And when people, they said, okay, don't worry, you have no shortage. In fact, they realized that they have 10 or 15 shortage during the peak period, 1 hour time. And of course, that impacts our process. So first of all, we move forward. I would say we move from the assembly area to go to the unit storage for the protein to say, okay, we have to solve this problem too, because if we are not doing anything with that, we will not solve the full problem that we have in the process. And now I would say that it's a part of the process. Count your shortage, be focused on that first, save the production before the preparation time for the sandwiches. If you have enough bread, if you have enough, I would say beef and chicken patties, you can produce any sandwich and you will not have any problems on the preparation.
So if properly managed, this complex protein, because once again, France is the worst country in the world. How many different proteins are available?
I don't know if I can answer to that, but it's more than I would say 15 to 20 proteins. Depends of the campaign and everything. Yeah. So it's a lot of things to manage. So and I know that we have a discussion about reducing the number of proteins. It's a part of the challenge that we have. But you know, when we are working for our customer, when they ask us for more product, different product, so they want different proteins. So it's part of the challenge that we have to solve. It's about complexity for our crew, for our kitchen, and I would say respond to the customer needs. It's find the right balance between customer needs and complexity in the kitchen.
Sure, but
and this is my role to do that.
I know you're deeply involved in that. But this setup with a lot of proteins, a lot more than other countries, was considered to be unmanageable. And yet, when we looked at it, it turned out that the process, if applied correctly, enabled one to avoid all shortages, right? People had lost confidence in the process and was starting to innovate. And so it sufficed to prove that the process, if it applied 100% with diligence, would work. You would have that huge variety and you would have no shortages. So you mentioned it, you know, the importance of having beautiful processes is fundamental in a business like yours because of the people you employ and so forth.
As you said, the process, it's fundamental. Very simple because everybody can work in McDonald's, everybody can do their own burgers. But in fact, the challenge, it's really about, as you said, complexity, because when you have a lot of products to produce, different products to produce, of course, you have to manage or to train all your crew member to do all this menu range. And follow just our, I would say, meeting and analyze about complexity, about the how we can remove the constraint on the assembly area. We have a huge discussion. I have a huge discussion with my marketing colleagues, for example, talking about complexity and how we can reduce the complexity by reducing the number of number of different sandwiches that we have in the menu, but also about the number of protein that you have, and also the balance that with the customer needs. We did a huge studies on that from the customer side, and we did also, as I said in the video, we go to the innovation center to do some tests to reduce the menu range, and we reduce the number of proteins by 11. We go from, I would say, more than 15 to 11. It was easier to manage at the restaurant level. That means that it was really easy. Now it's easier, I would say, now to produce our menu range in our restaurants.
Okay. A question, what about the table space? Is that ever a constraint? Do your table spaces get full?
So So two things that we are looking at when we are talking about the business in McDonald's. It's two things that we are looking very in details. It's the number of parking lots that we have, because it's part of the customer that we can absorb during the peak. And of course, it's also about the seating area. We need, as I explained in the video, people in France, they are just going in our restaurant in 2 hours time period during the lunch and during the dinner. And we have to find a way to absorb all these customers. Means speed is crucial, but it's also it's not our, unfortunately, it's not our responsibility about the time that they will spend to eat. It's their own time, I would say. And we have to manage this experience, because it's a part of the experience. Take your time. This is your time. So it's very important. And talking about table service, it was also an opportunity for us to, I would say, to improve the experience and manage also the flow of the customer in the sitting area. Like in a real restaurant, you know, you are managing your table based on what the number of customers that you have, the number of servers that you have. In fact, we are going on the very similar way, just to manage all this area.
Thank you. The production of proteins, or rather the way you're going to manage the production of proteins, involves having some kind of forecast on the demand that you're going to have.
Yeah.
Could you talk about your forecasting system, how simple or sophisticated it is?
It's very sophisticated. So I will try to explain very in the simple way. In fact, we have a huge bunch of data, historical data, that helping us to find, I would say, based on the historical information that we have, we forecast the day, we forecast the hours, and we forecast the 15-minute periods. That means that we know exactly how many Big Macs, how many nuggets we are selling during 15-minute periods. And based on that, we are able to produce this protein based on the forecast that we have, and based on the data and the I would say the technology that we have behind. We are pretty accurate on the forecast that we are working on. The only things it's very difficult to manage, it's more during the low peak hours. During the afternoon, for example, in France, we are very low transaction. We are using a different way. We are not forecasting. We are more in the real time. That means that we are only producing when it's ordered by the customers. So we are not putting some, I would say, proteins in advance in our UHC.
Okay. Just to give you an example, because I still am very impressed by the quality of the model and the quality of the results. You have huge data because of your history, and therefore you can forecast the demand per quarter of an hour, 3 weeks ahead of a huge product mix, and then adjust it when you know the average temperature that will be at that lunchtime, right? Because you know that there'll be more salads sold if it's 2 degrees more and stuff like that, right? So your forecasting is very powerful.
Yeah, and as you said, it's very important, for example, to keep all this data available. I will give you 2 examples. During the winter, the Wednesday lunchtime will be different during the winter if you compare with the springtime. So you have a seasonality affecting your PMX, that we call the PMX, the different sandwich that we are selling. For example, the seasonality is playing with the forecast, the day off or not, that we have during the same weeks.
And the school strikes that you can't.
Yes, for example, in France, strikes affecting our business too. So it means that we are able to know exactly what's happening in this day. I'll give you another example. We are selling more salad during the spring or the summer, and in fact, we have to adjust all these forecasts based on what's happening in the market, what's happening in my restaurant. In fact, it's not about the market. In reality, it's about the data that we have available in the restaurant to be sure that the restaurant will be able to produce specifically the product that they need, to limit the number of, I would say, the waste or something like that, to be sure that we are producing only the food that we need.
Okay. This question has been asked about 10 times in various forms. I've been trying to work out the best way of answering it. In fact, the question is for some people is addressed both to you and to me. The theory of constraints is not mainstream. Lean is mainstream. How come a corporation as large as McDonald's became interested in the theory of constraints? And was it an easy sell? Tell us the explanation.
I will give you the answer for the French market, because it's always, when you are in a big corporation, we have different way to looking at these things. It's first of all, we have very, very good experts in the office in France, but also in the US in the corporate office. When I talk about the innovation center, we have engineering working on different things, so they know exactly what they apply. And for example, during our process to try to investigate what will be the best solution, in fact, we apply, I would say that every day we apply the TOC solution, the lean or something like that, but we don't know exactly, I don't know exactly before meeting you several years ago, that we apply these principles, the theory. But in fact, it's something true. We have the expertise inside. The challenge for us and the way that we are, I would say, apply or saying that we apply the theory of constraint, for example, was really about convince our franchisee, we are in the system where we are franchisee, that we have the expertise. And if you pick the best experts in the system, in the world, outside the system, okay, they will say the same thing. I will say that I did a bet and I win. So it was good, because in fact, in a very simple way, when we work with Maris Consulting, we found the same solution. But I would say you help us to go further in the detail, and maybe you accelerate the process to find the best solution and the unique solution that we have to implement in the market. In the other hand, to respond to your question, I would say that in the corporate office or in the I would say in the headquarters, it's always difficult to convince people that you have something better outside. So it's a kind of discussion that we should have, just to say to people, okay, if we need the expertise, we will find the best way. And McDonald's, it's a good company for that. So if they need the expertise, they will find the expertise inside or outside the company. It's not a problem, it's not an issue. But the discussion wasn't really about lean or theory of constraint. It's always about solution, because we are very business oriented. So don't give me the how, give me the how to do it, but don't explain in detail what we are doing. We need the solution.
Well, yeah, clearly the concepts would never have seduced anybody if it was not very early on we showed them that they could increase the labor productivity and therefore the bottom line of all the restaurants a lot. You agree? I mean, all these franchisees are interested in making
what you are saying is very crucial, because in fact it's most of the investment have been done by the franchisee. So it means they have to invest in their restaurant to implement the solution. And it was crucial to find a way to say, okay, we did the first step, we've made for you. We have an issue, we have to solve the solution. We have to find a solution. We have to solve the issue that we are facing at the OAT, for example, looking at, I would say, the level of the investment and also the, I would say, the amount of labor that we have to put in the system. Something very interesting, it's about labor, because in fact, people, they thought that adding more people, it's helping them, when in fact, it was maybe at the beginning, it was really, really the bad solution, because you had people, but yet they don't understand what's really happened. So means that it wasn't the solution. We have to find a solution in the process, very simple solution, cost effective, and keep the profitability high to maintain a high level of investment for our franchisees.
Can I put it in this way? Again, it's not, well, we haven't, I don't use with McDonald's, I don't use much theory of constraints vocabulary, but what you've been applying is what is called the throughput world in many ways. That is to say that you're often trying to improve the performance of a restaurant by increasing the sales. And in fact, it's one of the, and all these entrepreneur franchisees, that's, you know, it's the daily, hourly sales they're looking at all the time. And so that's all that was already in your bloodstream, in your
yeah,
because
it's our DNA.
Yeah, it's your DNA, right? You want to grow,
yeah,
and that's how you got
yeah,
this market share. And
yeah,
and basically you've grown so much now that your main competitors is your other restaurant half a kilometer down the road. This was done, and one of the things that you didn't talk about, but which we've been working on a lot, is home deliveries. And there'll be some questions about that. Did that have an impact? What about home deliveries in this model?
Interesting. So across, I would say across the world, and with or without COVID-19, delivery, it's a huge I would say business. And of course, we are in the delivery business from now, I would say 2 to 3 years, 2 to 3 years, and in fact, it doesn't affect the process. Why? Because whatever the order is coming from, it doesn't matter. Because in fact, if it's a carrier or if it's customers, it will be, we will do the same thing, and we are using the same process. We are not in a case, but depend of the market, we are in different position in different markets. Talking about UK, very high level of delivery, for example. We are, I would say, in an average in delivery, and we don't have to change the, I would say, the process in the production side. And if we are growing in delivery, we will change something certainly in the service side, where maybe we have to split, we said, the flow of the customer with the carrier. So means we have different. We are working on different investigation to find solution at this time. But if we are talking about the production side is not affected by the delivery business at this time, because we are producing all the orders on the same way.
Okay, thank you very much. There were quite a few questions about raw material shortages, bread, protein, etc. And I think I can give that a short answer to that. There were some issues, but you get rid of those. I mean, you're not going to break your performance by running out of raw materials, and we cleaned that up. Again, nearly everything, the processes, the forecasting systems were very robust, and it was only because people tried to intervene manually that you ended up with shortages. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. So to finish off, what seduced you about theory of constraints? Imagine you meet another VP of operations, and you had to explain to him why they should consider the theory of constraints. What would you say?
I would say that the solution is simple and robust. It's key. it's don't try to find, and for my perspective, give us a simple solution and very robust in our system, because talking about 75,000 people working in the production line, we have to train them on the same way. We have to do the same using the same process. So from my perspective, the key message, or the key on the theory of constraint, it's really a solution, simple, robust, and profitable. Good for business. This is for me the three main words that I will use.
Okay. Well, that will be la mot de la fin. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.